research, narrow the field. Once you know what you're specifically looking for, you can move on to the next step, and that is research. Be thorough. Develop a table which covers all of the key questions that you want to answer. The table should have all of the particular donors down the left-hand side, down the column, and all the questions that you want to answer along the top. These questions could be about the geographical spread, the amount of the grants, when those grants are announced, what kind of organisations they actually fund. But you need to think about what those questions are yourself. They will be different for every single organisation. Think of this table like a price comparison website for airline tickets. It's going to give you an answer which shows you which is the best donor that suits those needs and those questions that you are most interested in. You can outsource this work to a consultant or to an intern, or you can do this work yourself. Where you would start is to really do a review of all of the websites of all of these particular organisations. Look at all the questions that you need to answer and fill those in on the table. But also, while you're looking, look out for some other website pages which are relevant to you. Firstly, look at their news pages. There you might find their annual reports. And within their annual reports, you might see what kind of grants they've given in the past and the amount of money that they've given to your country or the topic that you actually work on. Secondly, also look at their partners page and links page, because there you might find other funders or other donors who you've not thought about, who they actually collaborate with in a similar field. And that will take you on to finding some new contacts and some new areas of work. If you see any interesting information in their annual reports, like the introductory letter of the chairperson, keep those quotations and those notes to one side. They come in very useful because if you don't understand something they're saying, or if you want to show that you understand which direction the organisation is moving in, these come in very useful when you go and meet the donor for the first time. It shows that you're interested and you know something about them. Once you have done your research, put it to one side and leave it for a few days. Then go and speak to people and test some of your assumptions. Try and speak to people who have worked with that donor in the past, or even someone who's worked for that funding organisation in the past and has now moved on, to try and get some background information about what that organisation is thinking about at the moment. Because very often the websites are not up to date or accurate. And maybe there'll be a situation where a director may be new and has some new ideas about a strategy, or there might be a funding programme which is slowly coming to an end and there are no more project opportunities with that particular donor. So when you find that person, speak to them and ask them a little bit about the history and the politics of the organisation. Here you may find out that there is a new programme that's going to be started soon, or that one priority is now ending and people are moving on to a new priority. This kind of additional knowledge, in addition to the website information, will give you that little bit of an edge over others with whom you're actually competing. You could, at this point, approach the donor yourself directly, but I wouldn't recommend it. If you do it, be very general and just ask them general questions. Don't tell them what your particular project is at this stage until you actually know a lot more about what that organisation does and what they're planning to do. The next stage is actually to prioritise your list, all of those organisations that you've gathered. You can do this by either using a tick and a cross process, a traffic light system, or a scoring system of who is the most suitable donor for you to approach. And then once you have done that, reorder your table so that you have the most successful and the most relevant organisations at the top of the table and the least at the bottom. Ideally, target the top 3 organisations for the next 12 months. Don't look at all of those organisations in your list. Keep focused, keep targeted, but keep that list for the next year and review it before you then move on to the next 3. So I hope our short tour of a fundraising strategy has been helpful, and I wish you all the best success in your future endeavours. Thank you.